Hello, and thank you for making your way to my channel. I'm Ashley, an astrologer and oracle card reader. Today, we're going to be speaking about 4-4. So happy 4-4. It's April 4th. Some of you may have a connection to numbers. If you do, that's likely why you found your way to my reading. I am not a numerologist, but I do have a connection to angel numbers, to numbers in general, to receiving them as messages from guides and especially from ancestors. Um, and 4 in particular is one that I see often 4-4, the singular 4, and the 4-4-4, triple digit 4, also quadruple digit 4. Today, we're just going to be talking about, my idea of 4 in general and what I feel like it emphasizes no matter the number of digit of 4s. And, as an astrologer, my core base and philosophy around the number 4 is that it is kind of based around what the fourth house represents in astrology, in the astrological birth house. It has associations to the sign Cancer. I am a sun in Cancer. I have a stellium in the fourth house in astrology, meaning 3 or more planets. And 4 to me represents so much. I'm so passionate about it because to me it's a sign that our ancestors are trying to connect with us, are reaching out to us, are asking for us to connect with them, past ancestors. And usually the fourth house and 4 represents known past ancestors. Eighth house would be unknown ancestors that we never met, and then 12th house is kind of like our, the ancestors maybe that are not blood related, okay, that we have by affinity, perhaps we could say. And so we're going to talk about the fourth house ancestors today, and maybe even more specifically, they're the grandparents. The collectively the parents as well. Now each of those people hold their own different house in astrology as well, which is quite interesting. You could always get an ancestral astrological birth chart reading from me and discover that, like for instance, the father's mother is in the first house, right? But collectively, all the energy of the grandparents and our ancestry in general. If we just wanted to look at, the energy there and what it holds, and you may be able to guess that me, as someone who has a stellium in the house of ancestry, it's no coincidence that I'm speaking on it, that I do ancestral astrology readings, right? That I kind of coined ancestral astrology. So it makes sense, right? So, getting back to the 4, the 4 to me represents the fourth house, our ancestry, our roots, our home, our parents, our relationship to our parents, our early childhood, perhaps. The type of home and environment that maybe we need to feel nourished. So, as an adult as well, because don't we carry these experiences? Don't we carry the relationships, the traumas that maybe we have, that occur between the people in the fourth house, right? Don't they shape who we are? So it's not just, a early childhood thing. It's something I think we carry in general. The fourth house is also known as the house of emotions. So I always take it as an opportunity to explore my emotions currently, tap into them, release them, do some primal screaming if I need to, and validate them. Remind myself that it's okay to have them and feel them, even though if that's not what I learned in childhood, again, or from my parents, right? Even though maybe that wasn't passed down to me, but it's something that I can do today as an adult. So 4 to me is all about connecting with your roots. It's also about tending to your emotions, tending to your home, tending to the care that your home needs, and organizing your space. I know that's usually like sixth house Virgo things, but when we think about the home, what does the home need? And the home, our home often reflects our emotions. When our home is a mess, our emotions might likely be a mess. I know that it's true for me when I'm looking around. Not the most organized space, to be honest. So, and sometimes it just means we're busy, right? That's okay. But we, can connect with that today. We can tap into how is our home reflecting how we feel inside, and what do we need our home environment to be and to have. And I also want to mention that if you're hearing this, like, oh, it's about ancestry and, I don't connect with my ancestors, I don't relate to that, they were abusive people, they were terrible, I don't know my parents, anything like that. It's also about a time and a day and a call to not disconnect, to, not carry on traditions that are traumatic and toxic and overwhelming. It might be a fun, fine tradition that your mom carried on, that she cooked for all 70 people in the family who came over, but for a holiday, that is not something that you have to carry on if it is draining to you, right? It's also about learning to become an ancestor amongst our ancestors, a solo individual ancestor. Does that make sense? Like, to become an individual amongst our family, taking the good and saying no thank you to what we don't want to carry forth, what we don't want to teach our children. Okay. I also wanted to pull the numerology. I have numerology cards, and 4 says perseverance. The 4 says environment. I don't know if I left that aside, but that I feel like was maybe even more relatable and more pertinent because we're talking about 4 and an environment. But as I look for that, here it is. We talked about how space is important. Your home is your, one of your more immediate environments, especially if you work from home. Okay, so tending to your home, to your environment, seeing what it needs to be nourishing and fulfilling. And then I also found it to be interesting that perseverance came up in the numerology cards. Again, I'm not a numerologist, but this is my connection, with astrology to the number 4. And then here my numerology cards said perseverance, and I just felt such a deep resonating yes, because I'm going to be doing a reading from the ancestors, a download, a message, and reading specifically, not a pick-a-pile, but just one reading for us all. Whenever this reaches you, it doesn't have to just be about 4. And one of the messages that's always coming through is just how much they want us to persevere and keep going and not give up. There's such a, what word do I want to use? Wealth of support. There's so much support on their end. And the number 4 is all about reaching out to them, connecting. And if you have a real, issue with family ancestors, it could be affinity ancestors, right? It doesn't have to be any direct blood lineage. Let this day be for you as well, because it is. And you can use this day to denounce things that you do not want to carry on in your family for anymore, and what you want your family to be known about going forward. That's the kind of ritual and practice maybe you can set for today. Okay, let's get into the reading. Again, no pick-a-pile. The ancestors insisted. I have been avoiding tapping into their energies as a collective, and to be honest, even my own recently. And today is such a nice opportunity to clear our minds. Tap in, and what do they have to say to us? What is important? What can help us? What can support us? What's coming that we need to know? We're hearing from and tapping into ancestors of the collective. Not all these messages may be specifically meant for you. Take what resonates and leave the rest. You can tap into affinity ancestors. You don't have to speak or connect with any blood relatives that you feel are dangerous, or toxic, or abusive. That doesn't have to be the vibe. Yeah, so it seems like, there's some resistance. I was talking about my resistance coming up. I don't necessarily think forgiveness, but there's some resistance about connecting with them. And let's see if we can energetically, in the next sound of these cards shuffling, clear that. Breathing in and breathing out if you want to participate in just the release of that came up for us as a collective. Again, if you don't resonate with that, that's fine. I do hear that there are some ancestors asking for forgiveness. I'm seeing that some of them don't feel like they do deserve forgiveness. I'm always of the part that, if you want to forgive for your own self, right? Or I will move on for my own self. I won't harbor this anymore, resentment. It doesn't necessarily have to be forgiveness, but this feels more specifically focused on judgments. Are you judging yourself? This is really interesting too, because to be honest, I was having a little judgment about connecting with ancestors. Like, how will people see me, and what are people going to say about me? And I talk to the dead, and what? So I haven't really owned this. It's been a while since I've done a download ancestral reading, so I also kind of feel like this was, for me, thank you ancestors, kind of confirming moving forward. And this as well, but it's also collective, and I'm hearing them say collective. Collective is for you too. So maybe it's just resonating for me, and let me know if it's resonating for you. Like, comment, subscribe anytime that it does. I love to hear from you. And get a more personal reading if you like as well. Love this. Raven, magic, beautiful. Own your power. Feels like there's been some holding back. There's some shyness. There's some... but it's kind of always a message. Like, I feel like I'm always saying our ancestors are just... You don't really know. You don't really know how much you're holding back until you're gone. Until you don't have the chance of this lifetime anymore. And that's a very clear, direct message from them, because I'm getting emotional, and I usually don't get emotional about like my own messages to myself. Ooh, feeling a little called out too, and I'm crying. But this is a very powerful, like, intense. I feel very connected to this day and this number, so pardon me. And if you're like, this is too much, I can't stand this, then feel free to move on. There'll be another reading for you later where I'm not crying through it. But there's just so much support they're sending in your direction, and they feel like you've been holding back, and they feel like there's things you want to do and goals you want to accomplish, and like big fucking dreams. Like, I kind of feel like this is like a big dream group, and it's not that they're people that don't, but there are. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that there are people who don't dream. There are people who don't dream. There are people who don't dream big. I just feel like there are kind of like big contenders in this group, like want to write a bestseller, right? And maybe you would say, well, everybody wants to do that, but that's just how I feel, right? Super interesting that birds are here. I really feel like the pelican, the raven are coming to you. Tap into what is being revealed to you when you see these animals. Their specific ancestors. Yeah. I was going to try to say guides, and I'm like, no, we are ancestors that are coming to you with messages, okay? I know I said fourth house. It may not be. It could be, but I do feel like blood related again. If you want to denounce, certain aspects of your family and toxic ancestors, please, I'm not standing in your way, you don't have to talk to them or hear from them, then I would, in that case, say an affinity ancestor. Right? So, like, if you're an artist, then maybe Picasso has a message for you. So, 5 of water, things not turning out the way you'd hope, not seeing the positive in a situation, crying over spilt milk. Okay, so your ancestors see you sad. They see that you've been sad. They see that you are disappointed in some specific area of your life. I feel like it's big goals, dreams, career. I kind of do a lot of career readings. It's like the energy that comes through. I feel like the readings that come through that I do are for people who have big dreams and are really like holding themselves back, feel held back. A lot of water energy here. We got another water too. Yes, and I was just gonna say, I feel like you're artistic and sensitive and creative and friendly, but that takes it. People take advantage of that. You're very water-like. With your intuition, your sensitivity, possible like psychic abilities. Not that it's something that not all of you are like tapping into and monetizing or anything, but just because you're not doing that, I'm hearing, it doesn't mean that you can't use it to move forward in your life. That was for specific people who are just like, well, I don't want to be like a psychic. Well, you can use your psychic abilities for yourself to progress your life. Why not? But yes, I feel like painters, artists, all right, swimmers. Sometimes I try to not say things that I'm hearing, and I don't know why I argue with saying it. I do feel like people who have a deep connection to dolphins, who maybe can communicate with dolphins, and you're being called to kind of go back to that. But getting back to this 5 of water, I also see that these are water placements, water signs. Yeah, you have been kind of, your ancestors are saying you've been sitting in this disappointment too long. Like, snap out of it. And I get a lot of different energies, right? It's not always going to be nice in what I would say. But yeah, it's a lot of like, not a lot of, but you know, move on and pick yourself up from this, and it's time. Like, you have been sad. Whatever didn't work out is actually, or not working out, you know, it's actually okay. You know, it's going to make room for the better, but there are still some positives, right? 5 of water is about this is spilling over. These 2 cups are still standing. Focus on moving forward. Like, don't resist something that's leaving you. Okay, we also got the High Priestess. Listen to your intuition, have patience, consider carefully what you want before acting. I always say that the High Priestess to me is about to like research, you know, getting to know yourself deeply, and again, listen to your intuition. Okay, I feel like your ancestors are telling you, use your intuition for yourself, for just small things. Okay, I'm hearing like you are having intuitive gut responses. Well, maybe not all of us are gut based, but emotional responses, whatever it is. Check your human design, maybe. Find out your response and start slow listening to it, like responding to food, right? There's foods you like and don't like. Responding to clothes, responding to music, like test yourself on the small so that you can start to practice listening to that intuition on a, you know, grander scale. Okay, let's get into some more cards. These are going to be astrology cards. We got the 11th house, which is big hopes and dreams and wishes, and just couldn't just be more perfect, right? What did I say? These are big wish, big hope people, okay? And maybe even you don't consider yourself a big wish, big hope person, but guess what? Okay, you're going through a transformation. This house is going through a transformation as far as it comes to your goals. You're also going to be your friendships and your groups and your organizations and your connections are going to be strengthened and improving. And I'm trying to think of the word, not marketing, But when you go and you interact with people, God. Anyway, 11th house also rules social media. It rules, those connections and friendships you make. I feel like it's going to go through a huge transformation. I know that Pluto just moved into my 11th house. No, Pluto, not Saturn. So Saturn moved in my 12th. So very interesting, and I feel like that's kind of the energy here, okay? Like, your connections and the way that people hear about, like, who you are and the dreams that you want to move forward. Like, say you have a business, like, it's going to be more word of mouth, okay? Your social media presence is going to kind of shift and go through a change, okay? This is so great. Pallas Athena, okay? The warrior, all right? Pallas Athena sprung forth from Jupiter's head instead of being born, okay? Jupiter is the second largest, biggest, largest planet because the sun is a luminary. But, Jupiter's all about big and bombastic and joy and expansion. So imagine Pallas Athena just boop from Jupiter's head. Interesting. Pallas Athena represents intelligence and creativity and liberation. It also calls on you to make a plan, which is really interesting compared to all that, right? So what is your plan? Maybe you don't have a plan for big dreams. This is, your call to get reconnected to it, to make a plan, to start moving forward, okay? Your ancestors want you to, they want you to have a plan. That is a loud shuffle. We're going to get into the numerology cards. Karmic completion, wow. So you are finishing out a karmic cycle that feels familial, feels like it was inherited, things around dreams. Maybe that's like shyness, not, imposter syndrome, so very interesting. It's gonna feel like this area of your life is really having like a full-on shift, okay? Where your dreams just feel exciting again, you feel reconnected, your ideas are coming forward. Yes, you're gonna become more innovative, okay? It just feels like all the energy of spring the ancestors are showing me. And, planting your seeds now, making your connections now. Very interesting. So I do feel like father side of the family, father energy coming through. And if you do not, have a good connection, or if you have a traumatic connection to father's family, then you can, denounce this part of the reading. Or you could see it as Father Picasso the artiste, your affinity ancestor, okay? But I do feel that energy coming through, especially when it comes to you're feeling like you're completing a karmic cycle. I feel like there was a father. I feel like there's a father energy, very father energy, very, heavy father energy. And father's father, okay, so that side of the family, as like someone who didn't get to live out their dreams, not currently, like there's a mix, because we're doing a collective reading, but not currently living out their dreams, like unhappy, didn't, like there's like a lot of this, like didn't make it, and it's just sad and to me in the sense that like, because what does that mean? And what does success mean? And I think what's also really coming through from the ancestors is that like, touch base with that again and reconnect with that again. And there's this real desire from the father side of the family to just found the black obsidian. What a good time to bring that in for some protection around any ancestral energies. And I'm gonna wipe my tears because I'm having them. What was I saying? Feels like real failure energy. This person, these people feel like a failure. They feel unhappy, miserable. They tried to make something work. Maybe some bad, toxic money patterns that were passed down to you. We also got Mercury, and it's interesting because Mercury can represent, like overthinking, ruminating on success and big goals and dreams. And that the 11th house is also like what we buy with our riches. So there could be like an inheritance, and again, they're getting a karmic completion around it. We have the black obsidian here for some protection. You're getting a natural karmic completion around this, and you're becoming an innovator. But it's important that these messages are communicated. We're talking about Mercury. It's important that you take part in making a plan for your big dreams. That's also where this father energy went wrong. They're saying they never had a plan. Plan always got fucked up. Drugs fucked up my plan. I'm hearing some other things. Lack of faith, lack of support, lack of finances, gambling, right? There's a lot of stuff that's coming through, and that's true and accurate because it just is of people. Like, even if I wasn't hearing this, I could guess these things, right? So a lot of these things coming through, and I'm just noticing now the father with the sailboat, and I pulled this earlier, even before this one, and didn't bring it out, and it's like being asked to flow. You're being asked to let it go. You're being asked to let go of anything you're carrying around, the father's lineage habit around success. Okay, there might, I feel like there's people who, died young, didn't get to accomplish things, are living and are not accomplishing things, not proud of their accomplishment, right? And they lack plan, and there's this real, Mercury can really represent and present as this like mental Mercury rules Gemini and Virgos are very much known to be hard on themselves. I feel like Gemini moons can be incredibly hard on themselves, rack their brains, obsess. It's an obsessive kind of placement. And I feel like that's what this father energy is bringing to, and maybe there's been some obsessiveness on top of sadness in this group coming forward as far as the energies. And I feel like is it getting dark in here? That wanted to be said and recognized. Okay. Also, what can Mercury tell us? It can tell us that there's likely going to be some like self-marketing, some writing, some on your part. And when we're talking about 11th house, we're talking about, yes, online stuff, social media marketing. So maybe you're making that transition, or you're just getting back into it. Whoa, spilled these very new slippery cards. Yes, so your ancestors are saying like a really communicative, inventive time ahead for you for your dreams, and like they're encouraging this. They're not just saying like be mercurial and inventive, like you're going to be encouraged to be. And I feel like we saw like books, and we've seen birds, and it's like I'm getting lots of more air energy in this reading now, in the sense there could be air signs here, and also that's the qualities that we're looking for, and you're being called to do more of your research into what you need to plan to move forward with your goals. I do not know how to pronounce that artist's name. When authority says to be quiet, get a loudspeaker. I love that. Art must fight for freedom, or the whole world is a prison. Some things are whole only when they shatter. Okay. Yeah, this really feels Plutonian to me, and like, yeah, your 11th house, your dreams, they're going through a transformation. Like, maybe you're having a realization, like, are my dreams my parents' dreams? What are they anymore, right? What do I aspire to be? Who am I listening to as an authority? And it's interesting is when authority says be quiet, get a loudspeaker. Like, hello, Mercury. Like, get loud, communicate, talk. I feel like I say this a lot in readings, but it just comes up like podcast, writing, using your voice. I also feel like, again, there's a lot of creator, invention, energy coming through. I love these like hanging bicycles. Anyway. Okay, we got White Terra, sensitivity. You are becoming increasingly sensitive and avoid harsh environments, relationships, situations, and chemicals. I feel like we touched on that earlier, like with ending a karmic cycle, like you're leaving things behind. Okay, you're shedding you, and with that, right, you become more sensitive in the environments in which you no longer belong. Okay. You also got Arakira blossoming. You are just getting started, so have patience with yourself in the process. Do not give up. Yeah, okay, you're just getting started on your big goals and dreams. You're just getting reconnected with them. It's easy to get deterred, but there's things ahead. There's blossoming to come. Your ancestors really see that. We're going to pull some more cards. I just keep hearing, like, go for it. Get after it. Make it happen. And I'm also hearing, why does everybody need an audience? Why does everybody need 20,000 people to come to their first thing to do something? Whether it's a music show or art show or workshop, or why does everybody need so many people, right? For me, it just would have taken one. Interesting. Druid, hold the space. Yeah, so really this is all about creating, again, your space and environment for you to succeed. How are these dreams going to succeed? You need a plan. You need to make a plan for how you're going to create an environment that supports these big wishes and dreams. Okay, your ancestors are very much encouraging that. And it doesn't have to be boring, it can be fun, and I just feel like they're seeing you, they're communicating to me, like seeing you staying up in the wee hours of the morning, like looking things up, and it's like, what are you doing to the wee hours of the morning and looking up? What are you reading? What are you obsessed with? Like, that's where they just feel like you belong. Like, you're obsessed, you're so happy, you're so lost in it. And you may be thinking, well, I can't do that, because it's not practical and blah, blah, blah. And they're just like, you're so happy there. You're so happy there. Create space there. Hold space for that, beautiful thing that you want to do, right? For this big dream. Hold space for it. Make space for it. I'm also hearing that you might be the type of person, like, part of your dream might be about holding space for others, improving others, helping others. You also got the Horse, and I just feel like wild, free spirit coming through with this energy, and your ancestors is just saying run wild and be free. And there's like this yellow coming through. I'm feeling like Leo energy. Take the stage, step out, okay? Be the star you're meant to be. And it also is kind of like, wild, free spirit that doesn't need to listen to an authority, right? There's so much expansive energy here in this pile, like, and it's being buried and it's being hidden, and you need to get out there into the right spaces, into the right environments. Okay. Or have people come to you. I'm also hearing like your home could be a space where people come to you. Yeah, and it's also a reminder like, yeah, I see you in the middle of the night doing that thing you love. Also get some sleep and drink some water and nourish. Like they're kind of nudging that. Speaking of that, we'll probably get to the self-care cards. They're really calling me to pull another astrology card, so we're going to do that, and then self-care, and then end the reading. Because I said earlier, very early on in my head, if the 10th house comes up, I'm always talking about, you know, I said it was maybe a career. So very much, you know, I feel like there's heavy emphasis on not just like 11th house is big dreams, 10th house is career dreams, right? It's oftentimes the 11th or 10th is where the MC is, which is life purpose. So it feels like there's a lot going on for this pile. I'm hearing ancestors say, like, the people in this pile want to know how to move forward. Like, what's next for the plan? Like, and I'm just hearing a lot about having different expectations about how you measure success. And that is not at all saying, like, if you want the Gucci bag or the Chanel bag, like, get your bags. I am not trying to say that. I want money too. So you want a $200,000 a year salary, like, get it. I'm just saying, or I guess the ancestors are saying, like, is that really what this is all about? What will you buy with that? What will it make you feel? And I'm hearing them say, like, it's hard to practice, but try to feel it now. Personal growth, yeah, lots of personal growth coming through and coming forth for this group. And I'm also hearing, like, that's what you need to focus on. I'm also hearing, like, focusing on the basics of just getting up in the morning, eating, and putting yourself out there in 11th house ways on social media, marketing, these connections, like, what's the word I want to say? Feeding, nourishing these connections and these relationships, and spreading the word of mouth about what it is that you want to do, like allowing people to talk good about you and get referrals. Okay, I wanted to pull a couple more, it just felt necessary. Elder, move beyond ancestral patterns. Yeah, the father's lineage is really calling for a release these patterns, let go of this shame, of this imposter syndrome, of this inability to move forward that, yes, very much, you know, was carried on from us. She-wolf, unleash the wild within. I just love that too as it comes up with the horse. So, you know, again, this really speaks to, like, I feel like a lot of you are holding back, right? And it's collective, so I feel like it's for me too. We're holding back. We could be leaning so much more into our deep joy and passions when we, you know, get reconnected and, you know, excited again about our career dreams. And it just feels like a lot of people who are watching this, I feel like very called just to big careers, you know. All right, we have some self-care card, positive affirmations. And beyond positive affirmations, it's really like believing what you want in the future is a current reality. Like, it just is. It just is. Right? I make $200,000 a year salary, and it just is. Really feeling into that, like, there can, there is some meditative aspect to this here. So great. We talked about intuition and really listening, quieting yourself. How can you practice tapping into your intuition? Well, you can stay rooted and grounded. That's another one that just got mixed up in the card, so I thought I'd throw it in there. And I meant to say it earlier, like there's also like a call from your ancestors, to stay rooted and grounded, do, earth meditations, walking barefoot, being in nature. Practice checking in with your intuition and learning to read your intuition by, what did I say earlier? Trying it and testing it around foods, right? Around your gut response maybe to things, okay? Small ways throughout the day to check your intuition on things that you think don't matter, but in the grander scheme of things, the more you flex and practice your intuition, the more you'll be able to read it. Thank you so much for joining and watching. Happy 4/4. If you want a more personal reading, you could always comment and let me know. And if you enjoyed this reading, like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.